Thanks for listening to a special edition of the AZ Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Mike Luke, coming to you from the studio that Saul Bookman actually built. This is true. This is true. All right. Now, we got big stuff to get to here today. Tommy Lloyd has the contract extension. Here's the deal. Donor funds were secured to fully cover the increase in Lloyd's university-paid compensation. The 5-year agreement includes a total compensation of $5.5 million in year one, escalating up to $6 million in year 5. Guys, this is what Arizona needed. We needed good news. Fellas, we got good news. This is very good news.
Yeah, it's funny because I was on your show, what was it, like 2 hours ago, saying that I thought that he would sign the extension after the NCAA tournament.
You're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that it was going to get done. I think the thing that impresses me about the whole situation is A, donor funded, and B, Tommy Lloyd is now a top 5 paid coach in the country.
Saul Bookman?
Fantastic. I mean, this is well deserved. And it was expected. Obviously, you guys have talked about it quite a bit. Hey, listen, he is one of the best coaches in the country. You've seen what Gonzaga has done since he left. They started to slowly trail off, and Arizona gets stronger by the year, and you can see his imprint on this program, and he continues to recruit at a very high level. Look at next year's class. Like, what's there not to love? The only thing that's missing from his resume right now is just the ability to get into that second weekend deep and possibly to a Final Four. And I'm sure that's going to happen at some point during his tenure. So this is a great move by the university.
And we were talking about today on the show, Saul, that he just feels it just looks like he feels comfortable here.
He feels Tucson.
Yeah, doesn't it? It feels like he's a Tucson guy. Like, he doesn't have the look of somebody that would rather be in Lexington or something like that. He just looks like somebody that would want to be in Tucson. And here's the other thing, guys. This isn't like, and this is with all due respect to Arizona football, this isn't, you can get everything you need with Arizona basketball. There aren't many other schools that are better programs as far as being able to win a national championship, being able to get what you need. Like you said, he recruits at a high level. Sheer, this is awesome stuff, dude.
Yeah, and I mean, like you mentioned, like he has the practice facility, which is fantastic. So what's the only thing he would need would be NIL money, which he's going to probably get anyway now, regardless. And there's always going to be situations where there are schools you don't compete with, but I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, it takes a special kind of coach. Like, Kentucky fans totally thought that Tommy Lloyd was going to be theirs for the taking. And I know they have stupid money and all that, but you have to be a different type of coach mentally to coach there. And I think, like we know, like, Tommy Lloyd goes to Bob Dobbs for a beer. Like
Tommy Lloyd at Bob Dobbs.
Right. Like, you can't do that at a lot of schools. Tucson, you can go and get a beer and go home and not be bothered. And it's something that he likes to do. Like, that's more his personality. And even like small things, like he wakes up and 3-4 times a week he's playing pickleball in his backyard with major boosters. Like, there's just certain things that he can do and get away with here as a human being that he couldn't elsewhere.
I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, again, he is Tucson. You look at what this athletic program has done in just a short time with Brennan and now Lloyd, obviously coming into the fold. They both represent exactly what Tucson people would like them to represent. They're all about the U of A. They're all about the student athletes. They're all about the culture of Arizona, and they embrace it. Tommy has done that since day one. It's the only school he said he's ever wanted to go to for a reason. And to sign an extension, it should not be a shock to anybody. I don't care what those Kentucky people think that they're smoking. It ain't good enough because he was never going there in the first place.
Sorry, as if this day could get any better, Arizona just announced a signing for football. So,
is it the 4-star kid?
It's Jabari Mann, the linebacker that got out of his NLI with San Jose State. He's actually good. But this day is just ridiculous. Sorry, guys.
We deserve this day, though, with all we've been through. We deserve this. Also, Saul Bookman, anything going on February 28th, possibly, up in Tempe, Arizona Tempe takeover?
I think there's something. Like, we got a whole section that we're just going to take over at the school up north because they never sell out. We might as well take their seats. So, we got 20. We've actually sold out, we've actually sold quite a few. There's only a few remaining. So if you're going to get your tickets, get them now.
Get them right now. You know where to go. Do this. Be part of the crew. All right.
Now. And I'm buying beers and food for anybody that comes to the Illegal Pete's beforehand. So there you go.
You got that boss money right there. I like that. Oh, we got the Toe Tree comments coming in here. We love these. Make sure that Toe Tree doesn't visit Tempe. All right. Now, moving forward, though, this is also awesome because, listen, let's be honest here. Going into Big 12 is going to be a gauntlet. Saul Bookman from Big 12 country went to Kansas State. You know it firsthand how much different it is. Having Tommy Lloyd, guys, being able to just in here, being just knowing that he's going to be the coach gives me all kinds of security because, again, Arizona's about to go into a gauntlet here, fellas.
Really – sorry, go ahead.
Good. No, go ahead.
It sucks. Like, not having stable coaches in this business as a fan, all of it, it sucks, right? Like, when you're wondering if your coach is going to leave and all that. And we did that with football. But, like, going into the Big 12 and knowing what that's like, you need all – and I think that's one of the reasons why the AD search happens so quickly too, is stability is so important going into a new conference and a new start. And so now you have your football coach, you have your basketball coach locked up, you have your AD, and now your focus is on, okay, how are we going to transition to the Big 12? We're full steam ahead with that.
Yeah, hey, listen, guys, if you look around the country, they're already talking about ACC schools that are ready to jump to go to either the Big 10 or the SEC or even the Big 12. We've heard a lot of rumors already. It's already started. I firmly believe that Arizona getting ahead of this right now, so that way they can focus on what is to come in the with the rest of the country, is the best move possible. Look at ASU and that just shit show. They still haven't hired an AD. They don't know what's happening with their athletic program, and they're about to head into one of the biggest seasons in school history in a new conference and really a new era of college sports, because now we're basically dwindling everything down from 5 major conferences with soon to be 3. And if you're not on that merry-go-round, you're going to be left off watching, and you're going to be in some small conference that you're not going to want to be a part of. I promise you. And ASU is fumbling the bag. Arizona is not.
Arizona's not. And here's the other thing, too. It's not, listen, we were talking about this today during the show, Saul. Listen, Arizona's obviously got some financial issues, but it ain't that bad if the athletic director of Missouri is who's getting willing to take a pay cut is coming here. If the Tommy Gun is looking to sign a 5-year extension, it's not that bad. Again, it's not ideal, but things are okay.
I just want to say this for all those people up in Tempe and Phoenix that are like making fun of Tucson. I'm just saying, people are clamoring to come to Tucson and taking pay cuts, and nobody's doing that to go to Tempe. So chill. We even have a $240 million deficit, and we're still making moves. Come on, ASU, get out of here.
We were talking about the death of the athletic department like weeks ago, and now it's like, by the way, top 5 contract, just signed a really good football coach, just stole an AD from an SEC school to take a pay cut. It's like all of a sudden, like, the death of Arizona athletics is not here yet. And then you're right. Like, you look at ASU, they can't get an AD. They haven't really, from what I understand, they're not that deep in the process because they're waiting for certain things to happen, like the NCAA investigation and all that. And and Arizona's just making moves. And again, it comes down to stability. Dillingham's going to be there. But as Mike and I were talking about, we have no idea what the future of Hurley is. There's probably got to be a decision one way or another. You don't have an athletic director, and you may not until the summer. Like, that stability is important, and ASU doesn't have it.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I don't think that ASU would ever be in a position like Arizona is anytime soon. Hurley's going to be gone. I'm almost 1,000% convinced of that. Just who's going to come in and fill in for him. But Arizona, again, has positioned themselves, and every single time ASU or even any other fan base wants to put a nail in the coffin of Arizona, i.e. the FBI investigation from several years ago. Everybody thought, oh, they're going to get the death penalty. Oh, the program's all ruined. And then nothing happened. Like, chill. We are the best team in the conference, point blank, for a reason. We have been for a while in basketball. We will continue to show that dominance in football when we go to the Big 12. Everybody else can just suck it.
All right. By the way, a lot of people asking about Jacob Franklin. Jacob Franklin, the great Jacob Franklin, talks a lot on the ASU PHNX show. He doesn't like us, apparently. Jacob Franklin keeps telling us he's going to come on, Saul Bookman, and he's not following through on this, Saul.
Yeah, I don't care. He goes to ASU. I don't care if he's on this pod. He shouldn't be on this pod. Why would you want him on this pod?
I love him because he's fun to mess with. I love Jacob Franklin. All right. Now, also the other thing. So, Jamari Phillips, Arizona's got obviously some really nice recruits coming in next year. You got Carter Bryant, 5-star kid, Jamari Phillips coming in. Jamari Phillips' dad said something I don't think I'll get in trouble with texting a while back. He just said, you know what? He said, you know what? He said, Tommy just looks like he feels comfortable. He said that we've got a lot of guys that we've gone on recruiting visits. We've been to a lot of different places. And he said it was very much of a kind of a stuffy environment where it was just point A to point B. And he said, Tommy just looked like he was comfortable. And he said that really played off. And he said, listen, I can't tell you where he's going to be, but at the same time, he said it's something that noticed. And if a recruit notices that, if a recruit's father notices that, that's something that I think it's hard to really put a value on there, fellas.
There's no BS with Tommy. Like I mean, I still remember when we were at whatever the tournament is in Phoenix, and we asked him one question, and before you knew it, we were sitting there talking to him for 25 minutes, right? I mean, Tommy signed an extension knowing that he's going to have to put up with Bruce for another 5, 6, 7 years. Right? So, I mean, yeah, he's just comfortable. Like, he's just laid back. He is who he is. There's no BS. He's not going to lie or blow smoke. And even when he's talking about the team, like he's truthful, and he's just comfortable with who he is. And there's a lot of coaches in pro and college that just, they're not like that. Like, what you see is not what you get. But with Tommy is Tommy. Like, the guy in the pressers, the guy you see in public, that is who he is.
Yeah, I wholly agree. There's a lot of coaches out there in the country that will put on a great face in front of you, and then you get to the program and it's quite the opposite. I've actually experienced that myself. When I was getting recruited out of high school, I ended up going to Southbound Community College because I didn't really focus on grades when I was in high school. And my coach, Coach Mendez, was like, I thought I was gonna be like the starting guard and like all this, I was gonna get hooked up with all this stuff. The first day of practice, this dude called me the MF word at least 5 times, and I was just like, wow, this is a stark contrast from what happened when you were recruiting me. Like, with Tommy, I just don't feel like it would be that case. Right. There might be a little variability, but it's not that significant. It's not that drastic, and it's pretty cut and dry. Like, what you're going to get. He's going to coach you up. He's going to love you, and he's going to be straightforward with you. And I love that about him.
Saul, do you know when Tommy Lloyd crapped all over me at a press conference one time?
Oh, no.
Oh, it was bad.
It was bad.
What, really?
Yeah, it was bad.
No.
So I went in there and I asked him, I said, Coach Lloyd, I said, what do you think about the nickname, the Tommy Gun? And then he goes, there's like this long pause, and he's like, I was called it a few times. And I said, so you like it? And he says, no, I could probably find something better than that. It was the most direct outside of Bruce that I think Tommy Lloyd has ever shot down a question. It was amazing.
That is the Tommy Lloyd crapping on you.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's Tommy Lloyd. No, Sean Miller would have like ripped my head off, but he just looked at me. He's like, yeah, let's not do that. And I'm like, all right, coach, whatever, man, whatever. But the fact that I felt comfortable asking him that question, Coach, what do you think about the nickname, the Tommy Gun? He's a unique dude. He's out amongst the people. That's where I'll be honest with you. I know Sheer loves Sean Miller. I got different opinions of it. I would have never asked Sean Miller that question.
No.
I wouldn't have either. That's yeah. No.
Listen, Sheer and I sat there basically front row just about every single press conference in front of Sean Miller. And there was definitely like, if you're going to open your mouth and ask a question, you better know what the hell you're about to ask with him. Because listen, one thing I will say about Sean Miller, I think he's a brilliant basketball mind. I think he's as intelligent and as thorough as any coach out there. He was too big for his own britches when he was here in Tucson. And I just think he let it get away from him a little bit. And I think he probably found himself a little bit when he went to Xavier. And I think that year off probably did him some good. But yeah, you better be ready to go when you ask a question of Sean Miller for sure.
It was insane just on Sean. He has I don't know. He has a podcast now. Like at Arizona, there was no way that he would have ever had a podcast. Mike just gave me a look like, what? Yeah, Dalen Terry was one of his first guests. He has a podcast. And it's like, huh?
When did this happen? I didn't even know about it.
He's like 2 or 3 episodes in. The first guest was like Dalen. He's just sitting there chilling with it. And even I was talking with someone in their department that I know, and I don't want to give away his name. He's like, can you believe Sean has a podcast now? And I was like, no, like when? Like never at Arizona would if he had a podcast. So I think Saul's right. I think the whole way it ended and the year off kind of allowed him to align himself better. I think he's more at peace. He was miserable his last few years at Arizona.
All right. Yeah. So either way, oh, by the way, so what is Mike Brad Rich? By the way, we don't like people with 2 first names, Brad Rich. You know that. So what does Mike do? He doubles down with the BB gun. Brent Brennan right there. We'll find out about this one. But all right. Now,
do you know any other phrases besides gun?
Yeah, those are dumb though. But they were also, I stole them though from other people though, and I gave them no credit. So the now let's talk about a little bit about Arizona basketball, because Saul Bookman did yeoman's work filling in on the post-game show. Very much appreciative. This team's good, Saul. This team is really good, and we were talking about it today. I think outside of UConn, I think Arizona's got the highest upside of any team in the country.
Yeah, they do 1,000,000%. I think when they're clicking, and really, I do firmly believe that when Kylan Boswell is playing at a high level, they're damn near unbeatable. There's not a lot of teams in the country that can. The problem is when he goes to the bad place and he disappears.
Yeah.
Then things start to get a little shaky, and if everybody else isn't locked in, that's where you can kind of see the semblance of trouble. Should you be in the first or second or even the second weekend of the NCAA tournament? That's my hesitation, and that's the floor for Arizona. And I do feel like the floor is based off of how Kylan plays. If everybody else isn't like just rocking and rolling, right? But that's been few and far between. I think during that stretch when we kind of split 4 out of 8,
right,
that's what you saw. Kylan was just he disappeared. Everybody else was kind of shaky. Nobody was really playing with a lot of confidence. That's totally changed now. Shout out to ASU for giving us all that confidence in a 45-point blowout. Really appreciate that hookup. And I think they are one of the best teams in the country when they're locked in. There's no hesitation. They could win it all if they're locked in. But I do think that variability is a little too much for my liking. I think these next, couple weeks will really shore that up, and I hope Oz continues to play at a high level, because I do feel like if he does, we got as good a chance as anybody to raise the banner.
Sure. Are you going to continue to apologize about Jaden Bradley? You've said a lot of bad stuff about Jaden Bradley. Come on. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? You can now get away, because even when Kylan was struggling offensively, Jaden wasn't doing anything offensively. Like, there was that game, I don't remember who it is against, but Kylan was 1 of 7. And then you look at Jaden, and he had 2 points also. If he comes on offensively, you need Kylan, but you can get away with Kylan maybe not having a great game in the tournament. And you do want to get rid of that variance. Like UConn, to me, we've seen it the last 8-9 games. You know what they're going to do, right? And Arizona's very close. Like, I feel like if Arizona sweeps this week, you're at the point where you're like, okay, look, they may lose another game at the LA, but you know what you're going to get from Arizona. Whereas a month ago, we had literally no idea what Arizona team was showing up.
Right. Yeah, the other thing I will say about Jaden Bradley is that with him and KJ Lewis, that's the differentiator between him and Kylan, is because he can come in with KJ and they can create havoc on the defensive end. And that is a little bit of a difference from Kylan. Kylan feels like if he's not rolling on offense, he's kind of, he kind of disappears, whereas Jaden can influence on both ends of the court. That's what I like about Jaden.
And we are all here for the Caleb Love experience. This is true.
Yes.
Good, bad, everything. This is one of the most enjoyable players that I've ever watched. I'm going to get Mulebach to call him the mini Mamba next time they do it. But again, the confidence is fantastic, though. I can't. I'm here for everything. Good, bad, everything. Caleb Love, fellas.
It's fun. It's just fun. Even. I'm big on efficiency and analytics and all that, and yet somehow I enjoy myself watching him shoot 5 of 20 because I know that the 6 shot is going to go in. I have no idea why.
Dude, I'm telling you.
It's so true. It's so true. I think if it was anybody else, I would be like, dude, why does this guy shoot as much as he does? But for every single time he launches, I'm like, I'm okay with it. I don't care if it's from half court. I feel like it's going to go in. So I'm totally here for. I don't know if there's ever been another player quite like that in school history. Maybe for me, Jared Bayless kind of gave me a little bit of that frustration from time to time. He was really, really good, but he was a little erratic from the outside for my liking. Caleb kind of gives me a little bit of those vibes, except he's way better from the perimeter than Jared was.
Hey, did you also know that Matt Mulebach, for the second time this year, got a back the A reference in during the broadcast, Saul Bookman? We're making big plays here at the PHNX Wildcats podcast.
I know. I appreciate you. I shouted that out during the show as well.
Yes. Very exciting. All right. Now, Saul, what else you got going on? You got anything else going on here? What's the boss man up to?
No, nothing. I'm back at work after all the Cox meltdown that I have last week because
tell people about this.
That cable company is the most atrocious cable company in the history of all cable companies. I absolutely detest Cox with all my might. We didn't have any Wi-Fi last week.
Right.
None, zero. So we couldn't run any of our shows from the studio. So everybody was going remote like you. So
right. I had, and these people weren't fortunate enough to be able to have Saul Bookman come and set up the whole studio for him, like I did.
This is true.
This desk that I have here, all Saul Bookman. All right, everybody. But again, we got the presser tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Very, very excited for this. It is going to be the introductory presser. We'll be there. We're going to be on at 11 tomorrow, not 10:30, 11. We need a little bit more time. But again, put this takeover up if you would, Mr. Great Jacob Franklin. Come on, let's see this. Everybody get in here. There's only a couple more tickets. Again, like Saul said, nobody goes to the ASU games at ASU fans. Let's put the U of A in here. And again, Illegal Pete, Saul said that he's drinks and food. You said this,
yep.
Saul.
I got you all. Just come out and then we'll have a good time. And then we'll walk over to the stadium and we'll root for the Wildcats. All
right. For the boss man, Saul Bookman, for the venerable Jason Shear, I am merely Mike Luke, the great Jacob Franklin behind the scenes. You have been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.